Welcome! Today we will crochet a slipper socks with a long neck. As we can see, this how it looks. The slipper is easy and its steps are simple. We will do it together in the video step by step. Slipper size will be 38. So let's get started. But before we begin, we'd like to remind you, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you can click the subscribe button now. And if you are already subscribed, make sure to activate notifications by clicking the bell. The yarn we will use is always Burkham, and we will use a size 4 hook. We will consume from each color of yarn less than 50 grams. If you wanted to buy any crochet tools online from any country, you'll find the link in the description. We will start with 4 chain stitches. 1 2 3 4. Then we join the first chain with the last one and finish with a slip stitch. Now we formed a ring which will be the base for the next rounds. We'll start the first round. We will start with 3 chain stitches. We insert the hook into the ring we made at the starting chain. Not in the chain stitches. We will start making a double crochet stitch rolling on the ring of the chain stitches. We will make 15 double crochet stitches in the first round. As we see, we made 15 double crochet stitches. We will close the first round, at the 3 height chains or at the beginning of the round, by entering in the 3rd chain stitch, and we pull the yarn. We take it back from the loop we have, and we close the round with a slip stitch. We will start the second round. We will start with 3 chain stitches. We will make 1 double crochet stitch in the first stitch. We will make 2 double crochet stitches together in the second stitch. And we will continue on the same sequence. 1 individual stitch has 1 double crochet stitch, and the second stitch has 2 double crochet stitches together in the same stitch. And we repeat as we explain to the end of the round. So after we completed the second round, we will close the round at the 3rd chain stitch at the beginning of the round, with a slip stitch. And the first 2 rounds of our work are the ones that define the breadth of the slipper. If we measure the first 2 rounds on the beginning of the foot or the toes part, we will find its size adjusted, but if the size is large, we will reduce the number of stitches in the first round. Reduce 1 or 2 stitches according to the width. According to that, the number of stitches in the second round will decrease, but if the breadth was less or narrow, we will increase the stitches of the first round. Then the stitches will change into the second round. If we want to change the size, increasing or decreasing it, we will change in the number of stitches in the first round. And the stitches in the second round will change accordingly. From the 3rd round, the next rounds will all made by individual double crochet stitches. As we explained, we will not make any increase. The first 2 rounds are the ones in which the increase will be, so they define the size for us. Let's start working 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch. The rounds start with 3 chain stitches and ends in the 3rd chain stitch with a slip stitch. This is how we will complete all the coming rounds. We will make for our size in this part 8 rounds. By adding this the 2 rounds, the whole part will be 10 rounds. This part will be from the toes or from the beginning of the foot to the beginning of the leg. We will continue as explained. Now we finish the first part. And this part will be the first dimension in foot length. So the number of rounds will change according to the length of this part. From the beginning of the foot to the leg. Now we will start the second part, which will consist of rows that cover the leg and heel. We will cut the yarn. This is where the beginning and end of the rounds are. We'll leave it in the middle in the bottom of the foot. This is the upper part. In the center, adjust. We start connecting the yarn. And we start making a series of 20 chain stitches, 1, 2, 3. As we can see 20 chain stitches. We will leave the first 3 stitches. And on the 4th stitch we will make a double crochet stitch. And we'll make 1 double crochet stitch in each chain stitch. Until we reach the end of the chain and connect to the body of the slipper, the first part. Now we have come to the last stitch in the chain. And we'll make a double crochet stitch into it. And the next stitch, we will make it in the next stitch on the body of the slipper, at which we connected the yarn or started the chain. Starting from this stitch, we work on the last round of this part, the whole round. In the same way, we'll make 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch. As we can see now, we have reached the end of the round. From the beginning, after we finish the first part, we left the line where we start and end the rounds to be in the middle of the back. In the middle of the front we connected the yarn and made 20 chain stitches. We left the first 3 stitches and worked on each of the chain stitches we provided. We made 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch, until we reached the last stitch in the chain. We started working on the last round of the first part. At the stitch where the chain was joined, we made the first double crochet stitch. And we made a whole round. Until we reached the stitch that the chain was attached to. We'll complete the round in the back of the chain that we made. After we reach the last stitch, you will work again on the stitch that the chain is attached to. And then we make a double crochet stitch on the first chain stitch. We will continue until the end of the chain. We make 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch on the other side of the chain. Now we have come to the last stitch in the chain, in which we'll make the last double crochet stitch. That is how the first round in this part completed. As we see, we made a chain of 20 stitches. We worked on both sides of the chain. We started the round on the first side. Then we worked in the last round on the first part. We went back again and completed the round on the second side of the chain. We'll complete the rounds in the same way. We'll start connecting the second color yarn. And we'll start making the second round. As we said, we'll start from the ending of the previous round. The second round will be in the opposite direction. This means we'll complete the second round in this direction and we'll finish here. Then we connect the green yarn again. And we'll continue the round in that direction. And we'll finish on this side. And so we start completing the rounds in both directions. We'll start the second round with 3 chain stitches and start making 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch. And as we explained, the first round is the base of the next rounds. Let's continue. As we can see, after we completed the second round at the second side, we'll bring back the green yarn and start with 3 chain stitches, and make sure to insert the ends of the yarn during work. We finish the second round on this side. So we will start the third round and end it on the other side. Then we start the fourth round. And so we start switching, as far as we can complete the rounds that we need for this part. So, we'll continue in the way we explained. As we can see now that we have completed the rounds in this part, and the shape of the slipper became clear. As we can see, the upper part will look like a boot. The width of the rounds completes the length of the foot. And this is the second dimension that we consider in determining the length of the foot. The number of the rounds is proportional to the length of this part of the foot. We made 7 rounds in this size. Now we'll close the last round. We will split it in half, but before we start, we will flip the fabric so that the joint is in the inner part. We'll make the 2 halves of the round facing each other and adjust them, so we can close each stitch with its corresponding stitch. Now we will start from the first stitch. As we can see, we'll pass the yarn from it and from the 2 loops. And we'll make the first single crochet stitch connecting the first 2 stitches. As we see, we'll insert the hook in this side. And we'll go inside the corresponding stitch on the opposite side. We'll pass the yarn through the 2 stitches and connect them with a single crochet stitch. We'll continue. We'll enter the next stitch and enter the stitch corresponding to it. We start passing the yarn through them and close with a single crochet stitch. And we'll proceed in the same order. Now we are done with the connection. We'll cut the yarn. And we'll close this part, and of course the end of this yarn will be cleaned. We will flip this part on the outside. As we can see, we will begin to fold this upper part. And so we completed the slipper. And in the same way and with the same steps, we will make the second foot. As we see, we have completed the second foot. And so we completed the slipper. If you like this video, give it thumbs up and share it. And if you have any question, write it in the comments. And to get all our new videos, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.